So, nice intro. What's up? That's pretty generic, unlike me. So I'm sitting here and I never watch TV, but my PC, there's a room in my house that I refer to as the office. Some might call it a gaming room, but I refer to it as the office. I paid a tremendous amount of money just for the tower. $3,000, as a matter of fact. It lasted like 26 months. And it updated on the BIOS on its own. My side computer is about 6 grand, maybe a little more, of stuff right there. You know, some people have super awesome quads or bikes or boats, or I'm not into any of that stuff. I'm into playing video games because I'm autistic, Asperger, as a matter of fact. They call it high functioning. Come on, we already know that we're human 2.0. We know we're the next breed, early. But I like to solve problems. It's what the right side of this brain is sort of built for, and that's what video games are to me. It's problem solving with hand-eye coordination, and I don't think about the age of the person that I'm playing against. I'll be blunt. I like to kill. I thoroughly enjoy shooting, stabbing, choking out, dropping a sledgehammer. I truly enjoy. I get so much satisfaction from my ability to be creative, very creative actually. And you can ask my brother, it's like, how do you come up with that stuff? I'm like, I copy nobody. His brain comes up with an idea and I go for it. Aim for the stars so you at least hit the moon. The glass is not half empty or half full. It's thanks for the drink, idiots. Opportunity. So, my gaming PC is it's under a little stress. You know, I've twisted my ankle, broke my collarbone, all that stuff that I did, all those 20 plus years of CrossFit. That's what this left collarbone. You might see it's well, actually, you could see it. It's not even connected. I could put your hand on top of that and put this on my knee and go up and down, and you can feel the bones scraping side by side. That happened in December when I turned 20. And guess what? New Year's was coming along and I was going to be able to actually drink legally at the bar. And I didn't like the way that thing felt on me after having that collarbone broken at South, as a matter of fact. At South. I guess it's a freshman college now. Some friends of mine that I was hanging out with at the time. Friends of mine. That's pretty rare. Anyway, they wanted to play some kind of like football or whatever. And it was like the first play. And they threw it or kicked it over to my half. I caught it. And I'm not a fast mile runner, but I am ridiculously explosive. I'm a sprinter. And the way that I'm built, I can just twist and turn. It's hard to get a hold of me. Anyway, I made it through everybody except for my brother. It was like 4 or 5 guys. My brother was the last one. You know, I'm his older brother. I pretty much beat my brother at just about everything. I can't beat him in friends because everybody really likes my brother quickly. He have like a new best friend every week. And I cannot beat that dude in math. I think I've only met two people that were better at math than my brother. I mean, he didn't even have to write his work down for trig when he was in high school. He was in 11th grade, he had a 4th grade reading level, and he was in trig. And he would get in trouble because he wouldn't write his how he came up with that answer. And he just asked the teacher, "Are my answers wrong?" And she said no. And he goes, "I'm not wasting my time." He could do all that in his head. When I was in 2nd grade, I was reading college level science books and terrible at math. Absolutely terrible. But I was never taught from an autistic point of view. I didn't find that out until I was 41. Anyway, I digress. For a long time, I always thought my brother, because he's dyslexic, he just wasn't very smart. Younger kids younger men will call this flexing. I'll go ahead and do it. Getting the genius IQ was not difficult. I was well above that. And I dropped out of high school. I mean, I quit paying attention to what was going on in high school in about 8th grade. Who knows where I would have ended up had I just been taught from an autistic perspective. I mean, that's why I hated high school. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand any of those people. I had very few friends. I didn't dress like anybody. I didn't talk like anybody. I damn sure didn't have a home experience that I could even share. I mean, so few people know what I was going through. I was 10 or 11. I was the oldest. And I didn't meet my dad till I was 26. And this one of the stepdads that I had, the last stepdad that I had, he was only 12 years older than me. And a big, tall dude. Big, tall dude. Big, tall, strong dude. Keith Miller. Anyway, I just did not know how to do things at school because it's social. Like, who determines what's talked about? How do you know what everybody is going to participate in? I mean, I'm a competitor, not a spectator. I've probably watched 4 or 5 whole football games in my life. Now, I've played a lot of Madden and NBA Jam. And I did start watching after I started ice skating hockey. I did like to watch that for some reason. I liked it, but I ended up stopping that. But if I had just been taught, I was a 4'11", 16-year-old senior, and I dropped out like in November of my senior year, or maybe it was the junior year. And what did I do? I'll tell you exactly what I did. I drove to Woodland Hills Mall and went into Tilt, and I played Street Fighter 2, which I got very good at. That made much more sense to me than sitting around listening to music that I did not like. Very generic Conversations, very generic. Humor that I didn't understand at all. That wasn't funny. But all the dudes would just start laughing. I have absolutely no idea why they would do that. But I just didn't like the way people dressed. I mean, there were a few girls at Broken Arrow High School that, I thought were cute, but I was so socially, I was socially awkward. I could not figure out, like, the way I needed to be so that I was interactable. I mean, nobody would even really. I could have, as you can tell by me talking right now, I could have a very deep conversation. I love having a deep conversation. In fact, I love it so much, it's the most attractive thing to me for a female. They need to look athletic. They need to look like they can do an actual squat. And they need to look like they can do a push up. And a pull up would be great also. They need to look athletic. But when I talk to them, I have to be convinced that they're smart and they communicate well. I speak well. I enunciate. Whenever I start talking to somebody, if they don't enunciate, or if they're a dude and they start talking about like who they were in high school and college, I'll just tell them have a nice day, and then I'll just turn around and walk off. I have no interest in that. Don't tell me that useless information that's just going to be stored in my brain like a protein or as a protein. I I just don't. I mean, it might be why I don't. I mean, I'm not a super mean guy. Ask any teacher. I was always teacher's pet and most hated in class. I don't know how to whisper. I don't whisper. I just speak. And my voice carries. It's very clear. And being ADHD and autistic and having something that I used to coach her and her daughter. It's like, I think it's called like DOO. I've never heard of it. But it's why I have always, without even trying, not actively trying, I have always bucked against somebody that's telling me what to do. I don't like being bossed around. People would ask why I worked out the way that I did. And the quality was much higher than some of the athletes that I saw. And my answer was simple: your how should equal your why. If you don't understand that, if you do not understand that your how should equal your why, you should not coach. I coached over 1,000 people in 4 different cities. I have no injuries on my record. That's supposed to be impossible. But that's what I do. I always do things people just don't think I could do. I mean, granted, I could try to dunk a basketball at 5'6", practice 10 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next 20 years. I'm not going to dunk a basketball, so I'm not going to tell you that I could dunk a basketball. But I'll throw his name out anyway. I went Clint Morrison and Sean. We're, I think, in Jeek somewhere, some kind of golfy thing. I used to work at golf courses, Indian Springs, Meadowbrook. My brother worked at Golf Club Oklahoma, and I used to love playing golf. My youngest brother from a different mom, who passed when he was 16, was very good at golf. That's the thing about us Kellys. I have to concentrate on aiming correctly about as hard as I have to concentrate on having these beautiful brown eyes. I know brown is, I've already looked it up. It's the most beautiful color in the world. It's not recessive. Anyway, I just asked Clint and Sean if I could, you know, hanging out, casual, I guess, hanging out. They know how to do that stuff. I don't. And they did know how to do that stuff. It's past tense. It changed. Anyway, asked them if I could hit a ball, and they're like, "Yeah, have you hit in a while?" And I'm like, "Not since I was probably 17 years old." And I lined up to it, and I just crushed it with a little draw. And I could hear him. I could hear him talking. I mean, they weren't like super awesome, you know. Like, but I already know it was a good job. I already know it was a good job. Crushed that ball. It felt good. Anyway, I like to do stuff like that. You know, foosball, aiming, pinball, aiming, pool, aiming, guns. I learned how to shoot on a compound bow, I think it is. Archery. I had a I was part of a search and rescue group before I turned 16 called Explorers, which the stuff we were doing would not be illegal today. Anyway, once a month we'd go on these things called FTXs, field training exercises, and we'd have Green Beret come out and they would teach us how to do things, and it's where I learned how to build, you know, how to camp properly, read a map, find kids who hide. They hide if they live through a plane crash. They hide, and learned how to camp, build lean-to, catch food to eat, find stuff, you know, do my part of the team. But I also learned how to rappel. Skytook Lake, and it was so exciting to me. And those bigger dudes, which is not hard to be bigger than me, were scared about it. Most of them were like very nervous. Not me. I wasn't nervous about it at all. And we had a summer festival or something out there at Skytook Lake. John Zink Ranch. John Zink Ranch. That's what it is. Not Skytook Ranch. Skytook Lake. John Zink Ranch. Anyway, we had like a festival thing going on, and there was a bow shooting tournament. And I just walked over there. I got curious about it, and I was like, "Oh, you guys have it's a compound bow?" And the dude was like, "Yeah, you know how to shoot." I'm like, "No, I don't." And he showed me how to do it, and it was really fun. So I got in the tournament, and I won it. I'd never shot a bow before. So, long story short, it's what I do. I talk about a story, it reminds me of another story. I'm a story guy. Man, I need to get a job where I'm speaking like a voice actor, reading. I probably could actually, I say could actually. I never used to be able to, until I went to TCC and went through speech class, which I almost quit on that first day. I was terrified of speech, terrified of it. But I got through it, and she probably just said this to me, but she's like, "You've come so far. You're the best speaker that I've ever had in the class." And I don't know, just gave me the confidence to do some things that I just never would do before. And if you've known me for any amount of time, you probably understand I don't need much more confidence. But like when I say do things that I wouldn't do before, my mom used to take me, my brother, and my sister, or me and my brother, to McDonald's, and I'd always get like a number three quarter pounder with cheese, and she'd take us inside sometimes. I did not like touching the door to go in, and I would not go up to the counter and order my meal, even though it was the exact same thing every time. I'm still like that. I eat the exact same food at nearly the exact same time, and I eat quick, very quick. Thanksgiving is over in less than 5 minutes for me. But after years, I finally started ordering up there. But I wouldn't do that. And that I started kind of coaching with one or two or three people. I accidentally coached a guy one time. I mean, in my mind, I saw some errors, and he was struggling, and I have no idea why. I just asked him if it would be okay if I gave him some advice on squats, and he got done with a set of 5. He was a big, tall dude. He was like, "That's the best my squats have ever felt. You should be a coach or something." It's like the wind just went into the sail of my life, and I had some kind of an actual goal. That's how I got into coaching. But I would avoid. I had terrible posture until CrossFit football. Rafael Ruiz, Tampa Bay. Fixed my posture. Fixed it. Told me what I needed to be doing. And I kept that with me. The whole time that I trained, I always protected my posture. I never deadlifted with a bent back. Ever. That's why when I got in that accident and broke my back, I came back so quick after I mysteriously woke up from that coma. They just couldn't understand how I was already walking around. The doctor took me in there with my mom and was like, you're moving around and you're doing stuff, and you broke your back, vertebrae, like 5 or 6 pieces, and one of them was shattered, and you're walking around. I've never seen that before. And in my mind, my autistic mind, my brain is built completely different than neurotypicals. I'm neurodivergent. The science is all there. The reason why I like fans. There's a reason why I like weighted blankets. There's a reason. There is a reason why I take a nap. There is a reason why I'm slightly confident, but I'm not a tall guy, but I'm also not an ugly guy. Getting a girl is never, and there's been a few of them that have been tough. It's few. less than 5. Get getting them hanging out, whatever. That's never a problem. It's keeping them because I have to talk because I like to communicate. I want to communicate. It's reciprocal. Anyway, I did it again. I got off on a. My mom calls me a fire hose, so I just overshare. But for me, it's just interesting because the reason that I made this video is I was, I'm sitting here, my gaming PC's down. I don't watch TV, so I do have Google TV. I have a Chromecast in my living room. I never turn on my TV to watch it, and I went in there and I got rid of the Ideal CrossFit YouTube page, but I was looking at some of the stuff about, some of the videos that I took of myself training, and it's like sometimes Katrina was in there, Cat. I specifically made an internal equation to get Kat to join my gym, and it worked. It worked. It's a lot of fun. Big, tall girl. Cares about the way she looks, but doesn't really super care about, like, what other. And she may be different now, but back then it was like she wasn't regular, and I liked that. I liked that she wasn't regular. It didn't look like she was copying anybody, and always dancing and acting goofy, and I just kind of keeping it strong, like a palm tree, flexible. Palm tree is way stronger than what people know. That flexibility, the strength in that, because it beats the hurricane. And then, ever since the beginning, Sierra was in a lot. She was always part of the group. Anyway, things are different now, and I was looking at how I did stuff. I was watching myself. And since the accident, I've had a lot of issues. A lot. It's called betrayal trauma. Look it up. Look it up. I mean, I don't just have PTSD. I have CPTSD. I have complex. I can remember stuff that hurt me mentally, physically, or spiritually from when I was like 3 and 4 years old. I still hold on to that. I still carry those stones every day. And that may not ever change. I'm so used to carrying those stones. But people are like, how are you so tough? It's because you just did not grow up like I did. Not even close. I mean, not even close. I'm wired different. To me, which it's hard for me to say this, but a friend of mine, Sean Gatewood, told me not too long ago, in the last 6 months, just because you think, I asked for some advice on something, he goes, just because you think it, don't say it. I instantly started laughing. And I was like, man, he goes, yeah, I mean, you do that. And I'm like, yeah, because when I think about it, like it's a straight line. That's how it is, and I'll just say, like, I'm just so socially awkward that I just don't understand that there is just way more power and control by not saying anything. Anyway, I did it again, got off at a tangent. I was watching myself work out, and yeah, I'm very detail oriented, and I didn't ever need anybody else, really. I never needed anybody else to tell me that I was a good coach. I coached 6 days a week and cleaned on Sundays. And on Sunday afternoon, I was never like, oh my gosh, I gotta get up and go to work on Monday. 20 years. But the flip side to that was I could never lie to a person to make a little more money. I think when Katrina made the decision to stick around, who knows what happened? I still have no idea what happened there. It, it's like she was a little bit, I guess, a little bit of a buffer zone. But when she decided to just bail, 9 years, they're only married 13 months. It makes a lot of sense. It took everything. Took that $184,000 home that we built from the dirt that she designed. So clean. So clean. And my dad passed, and he left me and my other living brother a couple $1,000s each. She took that too. She took the little bit of money my dad ever gave me. Ever. He didn't even teach me how to shoot when I met him. I just could do it. In fact, I was the only one out there in the shooting range that could shoot the clay pigeon that he threw for one of these orange throwers and this floor tire thrower. I was the only one out there that could shoot one, change the bullet in the middle of that, load the 410, and shoot the other one. I was the only one that got both. Nobody else even came close. And I asked him if I could try. He's like, have you ever shot a shotgun before? And I was like, no. And he was like, all right, well, it breaks over and then it shoots us out. And I said, okay, give me that bullet. And he's like, give you the bullet? And I said, yeah. And he's like, okay. So he handed me the shell. I just stuck it in my teeth. Shot the floor one, bent it over, it shot out, put the new one in, and then he had thrown the other one. I shot them both out of the air. I was the only dude. There was probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 of us, including my dad and my brother. I don't think my dad tried. My brother tried. I was the only one. Learned how to shoot a quarter out of the air with the 22 rifle. Probably shouldn't have been doing that. Taught me how to catch catfish. Caught a 42-pound flathead. Taylor's Ferry. And then I let it go, and it freaked him out. He was like, what are you doing? I let it go. It took like over 10 minutes to pull that thing in. And after I took the picture and he weighed it, I let it go. And he was like, there's so much meat on that. And I'm like, what was the weight? He was like, 42 and a half pounds. And I'm like, yeah. How old is that catfish? I'm not killing that catfish living that long to get that big. I just let it go. Anyway, did it again. 34 minutes. I'm watching this video, and, after the accident, I lost the gym for a couple of reasons. Probably the primary reason was because after I got out of a coma, like I just totally forgot about wearing a mask. And trust me, I've been doing that most of my life. At school, in soccer, until I was an owner of a CrossFit gym, I was probably wearing a mask. But once I started coaching, mask was off. I was calling it like it should have been called. That's the thing about me. I tried to join the Air Force, and I was 35. I was going to 36, which was the cutoff date. But he was going to let me in on his reputation. He knew I worked out, and I liked it. But he asked if I was colorblind, and I said I was, and he said he couldn't let me in. But for my type of personality, I mean, to me, it's just completely obvious. It's so obvious. It's pressure that builds diamonds. There is no comfort zone. And after the accident, I decided I'm just not going to wear a mask anymore, which made some things way easier for me because when I would coach, I was simply looking at the mechanics. And if it wasn't right or I didn't see that was going somewhere, and granted, this just isn't some dude in Oklahoma that likes picking up bars. No, like I couldn't get anybody when I'm super competitive. When I first started CrossFit, I got tired of the bigger guys being able to move bigger weight than me and being able to do that workout as prescribed. And in our first 90 days at CrossFit Tulsa, 61st and 129th, I think, we were asked what we wanted to do, like some kind of goal. Mine was super easy. And I put on there what I wanted to do in my first 90 days, muscle up on the gymnastics ring, which is supposed to be like the hardest place to do them. And everybody was like, what? That's what you want to do? And I'm like, yeah. And guess what? I did it. And also, guess what? None of the big guys in that class were impressed. I could hear them. Half pint trick. Scrubs still they never did a muscle up. I think I got to on the gymnastics ring. I loved doing it there. I should have been in gymnastics. Anyway, gymnastics. Olympic weightlifting. All the power is from the hip. 100%. 100%. You got to get under that bar. You got to. And I would refer to moving that bar, that making sure that that bar made contact with your hip, and then it went vertical. A little bit of an extension from the hip and a drive through the quads, so that core is gonna harness. It creates a power. It's also gonna give some direction with the hook grip, and I refer to it as controlled violence. Same thing as a bullet. To me, it was so obvious, but very few people, guys and girls, very few people picked up on. A few of them did. A few of them naturally did. And it's why I studied things. I mean, this is before subtitles. I was watching the Russians and the Chinese, the Bulgarians, the Jamaicans, talking in that language without subtitles, and I would pay attention to what they were doing, and then I would deliver that here in Oklahoma. All those different formulas, like let's try it this way, let's try it this way. Everybody's built a little bit different. You know, I love to overhead squat. My favorite thing was the snatch, and I should have found the squat jerk faster, because that's where I would have been. But the reason that I like the snatch is also the same reason that Clarence Kennedy, Klokov, some of the guys that are like really good at snatching, we have something in common. We're all bow-legged. Those big tall dudes, you couldn't pay me $1 million a day to be like 6 foot. Because it's like almost all of them. Oh, my back, my knee, my back and my knees. My back or my knee, or my back and my knees. And it's like, I broke my back in 6 places. Both of my knees, I'm supposed to have knee replacement in. That should have happened like 5 or 6 years ago. And I already told them, I'm not doing that. When I am dragging my foot, I'll think about it. Just, people are like, dude, how are you so... And I've just forgotten about it. I've had to get it back. This is what I'm built to. I'm just like, I'm a lone wolf. I'm not a lion. I'm not part of the pride. I'm a jaguar. I'm a jaguar. Come leaping off that cliff and just bury my teeth through a caiman's skull. The jaguar is so athletic, and the harpy eagle, there's another one. Anyway, I did it again right there. Back on track, Daryl. I was watching myself move, and yeah, I was very strict on people. It's not hard for me to do. It's also not hard for me to talk and walk like a lawyer drill sergeant. I don't have to go out of my way to do that. And coaching was something, it's like, see the error, fix it, be along that journey. It was never for the money. And, I had the opportunity to be on that journey for a few of the state champions, Oklahoma State weightlifting. And some of those records still hold. And they couldn't believe I wasn't from a weightlifting gym. Cal Strength. Anyway, I was watching myself. I was never a bencher. I was never a curler. Although I could do over 20 strict pull-ups. And my version of strict was very difficult. You couldn't reach your chin. Made it garbage. You had to hold yourself straight over the bar like you're looking yourself eye to eye in a mirror right over. And then fully extended at the bottom. That was a strict pull-up at Ideal CrossFit. Speaking of ideal CrossFit, did anybody ever look up the definition of the word ideal? I know I can be slightly confident, a little cocky, never arrogant. But the reason that it was named Ideal CrossFit was because of the definition of the word. It's the same reason when I was at CrossFit BA, which I launched with Jason and Robin, and they changed the locks on me. Never forget that. Didn't even tell me that was going to happen. I asked them if I could make a class, a strength class, on the weekend. And they were like, yeah, we were at lunch or something like that. And I was like, well, do I need to pay rent? And Robin was like, no, you own half of the gym. You don't have to pay rent. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have it on like a Saturday or Sunday. And Jason Proventure just started laughing. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And he's like, yeah, you can make that class, but nobody's going to go. It was the largest class at that gym. I coached more classes than both of them. And I held that strength class on the weekend. It was my initial start. And the reason I told you that is because what I named that class, it was called DENT, D-E-N-T. And nobody understood that. When you go running up to a car and you front kick one of those doors, making a dent in there, and that process of making the dent is why I named that class that. Anyway, they changed locks on me on a Thanksgiving, and I couldn't get my kids' class in there. It was out of school kids, and Murray, strongest kid I ever had. I think when he was like 17, he could be at the bottom of a squat and strict press 155 pounds 5 times. And he was like 17. His mom asked me if my key wouldn't unlock. And she asked me, Daryl, do you believe in God? And I said, yeah. She's like, is it okay if I pray for you? And I said, yeah. And she prayed right there. And within a few weeks, I opened up Ideal CrossFit. I had like a list of like 9, 10, 11 names. Ideal was on there of what I was going to name the gym. And I sent it out to like 5 or 6 people, family and friends. Nobody picked the word ideal. Nobody. That's the one that I went with. But I wouldn't change that. If I could go back, I wouldn't change naming it. If I could just point to my head and my heart right now, I'm always going to be a coach. I was extremely passionate about that. Extremely passionate. I was never coaching somebody and on the phone, like flipping through Instagram. I see other coaches doing that, like on video, local coaches on their phone, and then yelling out like, oh yeah, you did a good job, and then they look back down, males and females. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. You should never pay that person a dime. They should probably be repaying you back like 6 months worth of a membership. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I was, very disciplined and passionate in that area. But I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change the name. I wouldn't change the way. I mean, I made up a warm up. It was mechanically sound. It was mechanically sound, and probably because of the way that I am. I guess the way I promote myself. I probably just didn't have, I don't have a casual mode. I couldn't just casually coach. And it wasn't until I lost it that I even realized, became aware. I thought everybody else that I coached, like, that's what they ate, sleep, studied, thought about. Super competitive. Being the best exerciser in Oklahoma. Very few, like less than 10 in 20 years. Less than 10. As males and females, regardless of age. But I was like that. I don't want to be interrupted at all. If I'm paying attention to something, that's the reason I couldn't. I had plenty of chances. I know that I'm a sharp speaker. I've been told nearly my whole life that I'd make a great salesman. I know that I'm not an ugly looking guy. And I had plenty of opportunities to make female coaches. Plenty. But I didn't do it. Because, A, I took my relationship with Katrina at the time very serious. And B, I would have to not be there. When I was coaching somebody, yeah. It's easy for me to be a jerk. Like, when I speak something, I could be a dick. I mean, I could just instantly be a dick. That's not hard for me to do. What is hard is like, well, you probably have a bad day today, you'll get. I just don't like that. I'm not like that. The light switch is either on or it's off. And if it's on, it's not, and the light's not working, it's not set up mechanically sound. It needs to be fixed. Mechanically sound. That's the way I coached. And I didn't devise it in a way that was my strength. I tried to just make myself, especially after the divorce, which completely disrupted my entire life. I'm very scheduled. Yeah, I needed a female. I needed a female. They're way better situationally. Like, I used to go to like parties after the club in my mid-20s. That was never a problem for me at all. You already know. If you knew, you know now. But when I had the CrossFit, Clint would invite me over at his houses, and you know, pretty social guy. Lots of people knew him. I just, ski. I just didn't understand how to do that stuff very well. Honestly, if I had everything set up in my office, if I had the option to go to like a party over there socially, or playing a video game where I'm killing, 9 times out of 10, I'm picking the video game. It's rewarding. I don't understand the rules of that kind of stuff. which made coaching for me pretty easy. You know, there was these different pathways to the top of the mountain, but you got to take step after step. You got to be disciplined. But after the accident, I just decided I wasn't going to wear a mask anymore, and people, which I always struggled with, could only handle me being a dick for so long, especially the females. Just I'm not done with it. My family has told me that I'm never allowed to own a CrossFit or something like that. They sold all that CrossFit equipment. I had 27 weightlifting bars. 27. Just weightlifting bars. 4 rowers. 4 bikes. 3 pull-up cages. Gymnastics stuff. Kettlebells. Dumbbells. I only got like $3,900 out of all that. I paid $1,000 just for my bar. One of the 27 bars. It's been a rough road. But it's taken me a couple years to just get situated to where I haven't been able to get my feet steady on anything since I had that accident. Actually, since the divorce, it's been like 10 years, 9 years. So that happened when I was 41. And I turned 50 in October. I feel sorry for other dudes that are my age. It's like, guys just do not look as good as I do. It's just like, I don't really know what it is, but especially ask the females. They'll tell you, that dude doesn't even look like he's 35. Just don't have, I have like nothing in common with other dudes around here my age. Nothing. But I'm not done. I have hit a rock bottom. I'm getting my feet settled. And I know that I'm a warrior. I'm chosen to be like this. I have no quit. I feel like 20 something feet plus my height. I'm supposed to be afraid of heights. I'm not. As soon as I can get some money together in the spring, I'm jumping out of a plane. And the reason I'm doing that, I have to be strapped to somebody first, tandem, which I don't like that. But I want a free fall. And beyond that, I want a squirrel suit. And I want to jump off a cliff and go flying down that cliff. To me, that's living. Not sitting around on a couch watching OU. Why people do that, I don't understand that. But I mean, I also don't understand the social interaction. The only social interaction that I really understood was the club. I mean, I'm autistic. So keeping that beat, I can keep a beat with no metronome. I can ride my bike with no handlebars. It's just, and I'm very creative. And I still do it. I still go. I murder those songs. Murder it. This place that I go, St. Vitus, downtown Tulsa, it's not very big. A lot of those people are just, they go in there and they just stand on the dance floor. I can't even get on there. I'm very animated when I speak. It's times 10 million when I dance. And it's one of the few places that I feel like I can just be myself. when I'm on the dance floor, when I'm playing foosball, when I'm playing pool, when I'm playing video games, when I'm coaching. I'm not thinking about my past. I'm not thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the present, and I'm completely active right there. And I know that I look confident. And that's why some girls will not stop looking at me, even though I'm way older. They can just see that confidence. They're drawn to it. And some dudes, just like, I don't know, they don't like it. I've been jumped 2 or 3 times there, and I still go back. And I still see those dudes. And I don't break eye contact with them. A few weeks ago, the last thing I'm going to say, a few weeks ago, I was not on the dance floor. I was kind of out between where the dance floor, and then there was like a little, I don't know, like a bracket around it, and then like a little couch. And there were 7 girls sitting down at the couch watching me dance, 3 more on the dance floor watching me dance for over 30 minutes. And some of them had like a boyfriend or a husband, and they just kept watching me. I'm copying nobody. And I'm a group of 4 dudes that kept walking by me, and they bump into me. Especially the biggest one. He'd bump into me. And he did it like 3 or 4 times. After the second time he did it, I'm very accurate with my dancing. I was like, fuck it. So he bumped into me like the 3rd time. And when the snare hit on the drum, I hit it like a gun, like I shot myself in the head. And he walked right by me, and I just stared right at him. All those people, there was like 10 or 15 people, they couldn't believe that I did that. But I will do that, or I'll hang myself. I've already died 5 times. I have no fear. And I'm not getting punched in the back of the fucking head. I surprise people all the time. I get my ass whooped. But I also surprise them sometimes. I got no quit in me. I'm way stronger and faster than I look. But I have found a job, finally. That's another thing. Autistic. I don't keep jobs very long because I'm just not like other people. Things that seem regular that other people pick up on really quick, I don't pick up on that kind of stuff. And I say things I shouldn't say. Anyway, I'm working at a place now in a warehouse. Running a nail gun. 8 hours. Just standing. Building pallets. Repairing pallets. But I'm just looking at it as I've hit rock bottom. I'm trying to get my feet settled. Because it's, whining about my life, which I have done. There's been a few posts of me whining or whatever. I'm pretty sure my mom can remember, who doesn't talk to me anymore. My mom doesn't talk to me. My brother doesn't talk to me. And my sister doesn't talk to me. They haven't since like September. They're never going to speak to me. They never want to speak to me or see me ever again. And the beauty of it, they won't tell me why. Pretty sure I know who set that up. I know exactly who she is. But I'm getting settled. I got my house, I got my Jeep. I'm applying for all kinds of crazy jobs. I'm part of two or three temp agencies, and I went to that fiber optic school for 8 weeks. Took the test. I thought I was going to get at least a 95%. I got like a 67%. All that stuff that I studied, I had Jeremy come over, and I told him, help me study for this. Read these pamphlets, and I'll answer them. And when I pass, when I get a job, I'll give you $200. And he was like, all right. He would start reading the question on it. I'd finish. I had the question memorized. I'd finish what it was, then answer it. And when I went and took that test, like less than 5% of the stuff that I studied was even on that test. So I didn't get that. I thought I was gonna get it. So I'm just applying at a whole different companies, different types of jobs. And I don't need weekends off. I don't need Sunday off. I eat 7 days a week. I can work 7 days a week. I'm not married anymore. I'm finally, after almost a decade, finally referring to her as my ex-wife. Finally. You know, the crazy thing is, I hope one of you people that actually listen to this tell her. A decade. I can't remember anything about her except that she's left-handed. She was good with finances. She said she could shoot a gun. I never saw her. And her teeth were wicked straight. That's it. Out of a decade of sacrificing, literally, I got my gym, a Jeep, and 2 cats. And the only time that I can remember crying in my life is when Biscuit died. I cried right in front of her. I'm so glad she saw that. He's at that house. He's right outside my office, right outside the window. Me and Noah dug that grave. The house is nice, but I wish I still have Biscuit's brothers. Crayon with a K and little one. And, you know, I believe in God. Jesus is not that white dude with brown hair and blue eyes. Sorry to bust your bubble. Not in Africa. Not at that time. Society has taught you to think that way. It's the beauty of being autistic. But I'm just going to start shooting for all kinds of things. I have applied for quite a few electrical jobs. I might go for an IT job, or go to IT school, or build computers. I'm probably going to get a job at a golf course because I want to play golf and I like it out there. And it wasn't until about just a few months ago that I even thought about. I mean, literally, I worked at 3 country clubs and my brother worked at Golf Club Oklahoma. I never thought about being a member. I never even owned my business to make money. That's not why I did that. I did that the same way that I played video games. It's a thought in my head, and I think that was what I should have been doing. And I'm not done with it. I do like Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. No gi. No gi. Not gi. No gi. And I'm supposed to be a brown belt so that I can coach. But I'm probably going to do that. I already have like 10 to 12 different business ideas that have nothing to do with CrossFit. So also there's no competition around here. Selling cars, selling houses, maybe selling fiber optic. I always do what people don't think I can do. That's what they say to themselves over there. When they talk to me, they're like, yeah, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. Because I have a car that I want. It's unlike any car I've ever seen. I'm copying nobody. And there's a motorcycle that I want. So it's a Jeep, a car, and a motorcycle. And I want to be a pro gamer. I don't know if I want to be a pro foosball player, but I want to be a high-level pool player. And I might get back into playing foosball at a higher level. I also want to be a DJ at a club. I know what sounds good. So there's gonna run out of time. I need more Daryl Glenn Kellys. Anyway, my dog Gray, he's a good boy. Look how good he is. Look how good he is. He's such a good dog. He's crazy strong. But he's a very affectionate dog. And I wish that I could meet the guy that dropped him off. Because if I knew that was the guy that got him and dropped him off, it was 12 degrees that night. Look at his hair. There's hardly anything there. I'd break that motherfucker's nose. And then when he fell on the ground, I'd start dropping elbows on his face. Change the way the bones looked in his face for the rest of his life. That way, every time he looked in the mirror for the rest of his life, he knew that he fucked up by abandoning Gray. I know what that's like because I have been abandoned. It's called betrayal trauma. And I'm a warrior. And I'm getting my feet settled. As soon as I get my feet settled, I've already been running the scenarios in my head. The last year that I had the CrossFit, I got a heart rate monitor, which was awesome because I could tell what was going on with certain clients that had it. But I started wearing one because I started questioning, what was up with mine. So I thought, oh, well, it's going to get up high and it's going to get like this. And I wasn't like the best CrossFitter in the world. However, I had like over 4 dudes try to work out with me 2 to 3 hours a day, 6 days a week. None of them could make it 2 months. Every single one of them stopped. Anyway, I was like, I wonder what it's like when I play a video game. My heart rate drops. It lowers. It beats fewer times per minute. When I play foosball, my heart rate drops. When I was coaching, my heart rate drops. So that surprised me. I wasn't aware of that. That made me start understanding, like, when situations get real crazy and people are panicking and they don't know what they're doing. That's not how it works for me at all. My heart rate drops. I'm calculated and I'm running scenarios in my head. When it's a lot of people are heart rate's beating real hard and they don't know what's going on, that's not how it works for me at all. Yeah, I got a temper. It's called a meltdown. There's science behind it. Look it up. Autistic people always happens for me after I get frustrated. When I cannot solve a problem, which my brain is built to do, I get frustrated. What happens every time after frustration? I lose my temper. So to everyone else, it looks like I went from 0 to death row instantly. They have no idea that I've been fighting nuclear warheads inside my brain for a while. Look it up. Autism, and look up the word and combine it. Autism, meltdown. 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 There's no medication for it. When an autistic person has a meltdown, you need to let that person, male or female, regardless of age, you need to let them go through that. You can't get them drunk, can't give them Xanax, can't give them this, can't give them that, blah, 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 blah. There's no medication for it. You have to let them go through that meltdown, and then they'll be on the other side. If I could just get a few people around me that understood that and would let that happen, things could be so much better. But I'm getting my feet settled. And it's time to go to war later.